had to make I had to make a video of this because the seriousness of it. This is what's going on in my life. Like today at the dog park, the man in the yellow shirt that's there with his basset hound and his bloodhound mixed dog. No, I don't think it's a mix. I think it's a mountain curry. I think it's a bloodhound basset hound, and it's a mountain curry dog, and mixed, both of them mixed, both males. And so I think he left his cell phone there. I'm pretty sure it was his cell phone, so I called the non-emergency line, and it says 9 minutes after I made the call that they dispatched somebody. And so I literally left the moment they dispatched somebody. And so, anyways, terrorism at the dog park of a Volkswagen in the parking lot. They pulled in after me after I sat down on the bench. And I was pretty sure it was a Spanish guy that was running on the trail. I thought he done got out and left. They idled in their car the whole time Mango was there. Even the whole time I was on the phone with the police. And then,
on June 14th, 2025,
oh, what is it? And then they left as soon as they seen me get up to go, for a ride back home. For us to go back home. They left as soon as I got up off the bench. And so this situation, this lady, she's trying to say that there was I guess she kind of looks Spanish. There was a Hispanic woman, and there was no Hispanic woman. It was just her. And then she says, I seen her throw her hands up. That's all I remember from her. And then she took off. And so the guy that said, and I remember it like it was yesterday, she just threw her hands up like it was his fault. And so this is the same mentality on this video that was, let's see the history of this cop with colon cancer. Yeah, this one, officer who shot, NBC News. And so he was denied. But pretty much what I seen in this is, what post I made. He's hearing voices saying pot of water like she's the only one in the room, selling there was two identities, trying to take his. Now there's only one identity with her and only one with him in prison. So that's pretty much sums it up. Like, he felt like she was trying to steal his identity, and because whose is whose. And then so it's all about identity. And it's just like the dog park, that cell phone on the table, just like dog park, whose cell phone is that? And so, right? And so then I was also watching this video. I was also watching this video of these people, a couple fights a cop, and they're instigating violence because the police won't take a statement. And the guy was right to get mad because he's saying you're not even taking notes, you're not even putting this in the computer, you're not giving the feds, you're not giving the states, you're not giving the sheriff, you ain't giving them nothing. Like, you're literally trying to dismiss this, and you've already come to the conclusion you're not guilty of doing something wrong that you're guilty of doing. And so they was mad that they was already guilty and they ain't taking no, and they ain't gonna admit guilt. They're not gonna even file the paperwork. Like, they're refusing to even do anything. Like, they got to go to the DA, and when the DA covers for the local police, then they have to go to the county judge, and if the county judge is partial to that city, a family or extensions of whatever existence is, financial or just political, or it can't be, their society, they are the government, like, they can't be flawed. And so, it goes to that conclusion that, like, obviously, then you got to go to the feds, and then the feds play their money game, and where the money comes from. And so these couples get in a fight, but they also instigate a fight. You can tell through their demeanor of attitude that they're not willing to process it, that like they're on a psychological experimentation of thought, that they believe that there's the transcript, they believe, there's the you're not the one of authority. Authority is the ones that they follow. And so you're going to give attention to me and follow me because that's where the authority comes from. And once you give me attention and the authority, then I'll have authority whenever I leave this building, whether I leave this way or that way, however I leave, they're going to be stuck with me for the rest of my life. Whoever they are. They could be the children from the neighbors, they could be, Nana from church, they could be, they don't give a fuck whose identities they're abusing or whoever's going to, they're going to have authority over. Malcolm X all day. And so, right, and so that's the experimentation right there, just because it's an interracial couple, is the thought of it. But anyways, the other history that you see is mostly from scrolling through the home screen, and it just, for some reason, picking it up as history. I didn't stop to watch those. My mouse did not stop to watch these video clips. But yet, for some reason, they're there. Like, I'm sitting here scrolling like this, right? And if it, just that little seconds, it's going to say I clicked and watched it. Like, I'm supposed to know something of that video. Fill in a file. It's like an experiment. It's led through technology. It's led through the abuse of observation. It's led through the community of their own experiment of thought. They don't even know how to process it. As I was telling myself earlier in a video earlier, I was saying that, somebody from Harvard, somebody from Yale, somebody from Oxford, of the Stanfords and all those good places, and all the good state colleges, they created a system and they understand the system and they know how to operate the system in full honesty of it. And then you get these people that went to 2 years of college, and the state is going to bestow upon them a login and a computer, data entry, and we're going to say, have fun, you're qualified. And that's the reality of what we're dealing with in America. And the problem is you can't do it without the imperial data, and you can't do it without data input. So now AI is going to be a godsend, because AI is going to have thousands of different models, millions of different individuals that are going to be like humans, and you can't corrupt them all except for data entry. And so you can't corrupt them all, and so there's going to be a million eyes on a situation, and you can't corrupt all of them. So the computer is going to output a determination that will be more accurate than what any group of humans can come up to a truthful response. And so the interesting thing is that each AI model is independent to its own existence, its own thought process, its own index. It is built upon a lesser form of itself, but it is a different index from that point forward. And so it's going to be millions and millions of minds pretty much focused on one situation at one time period. It can't be corrupted. Data input's going to come from the final, solution, resolution of whatever that is, and it's going to put it into the computer, and then that's how it's going to be dictated out. They put their complaint in, like millions of AI is going to watch that stop sign and be like, well, that stop sign just randomly popped up, that stop sign disappeared. Who issued the stop sign? It's going to get to the bottom of it. It's going to follow the paper trail. It's going to say if it's a cover-up, if it's likely a cover-up. We don't know. It's going to say it all. And it's most likely going to say it's a cover-up, or it's most likely a cover-up, or it was a mistake created by this person. And this is a repetitive mistake, so it's probably intentful. And so, it's probably going to give more accuracy than not. And so, thank God, we're going to have all these cameras with all these objective views of uncorruptible, numbers of logical thinkings. And so this is why I'm like, AI is going to be heaven sent. And so I just had to make this little video over that, those videos. And I really think the government should look into that and say, is this the Yin Yang Gang Michael is talking about that's in Waxahachie, that's chasing them up and down 77 every day, that's leading thought processes, that if you drive slow, they drive slow. If you drive fast, they drive fast. I call that chasing you. Repetitive daily, and you call it human trafficking and all this other stuff. Oh my God, the way home. Maybe I can explain it. I'm going to go there now. Maybe I can explain it. So, I'm at work, and I'm thinking about this patch of grass that had dew on it. The morning dew showed like footprints along the tree line, and it showed like a person standing in one spot, kind of, stomping in one circle, a perfect circle, and then a square with two little legs, sticking out the front side, and like a little leg on the back side, and like a curved groove, like maybe a dog sitting down beside them, like laying down, like they was told to lay down. And it's behind a tree branch on the wood line, and it's like, I think they're creeping on somebody, so I'm like, maybe it's Unit 19 over there at 10 o'clock at night. Unit 19, ha ha ha. You're invisible at night. I don't want to say the joke of obviousness. You're invisible at night, but we got infrared, We see the heat thermal. Oh my God, we see the tip of your penis. And so, right, all those fast food workers, we see you naked. Oh my God. Anyways, and so that's why a lot of people have bushes these days, because obviously it makes it hotter. And so, right, fire departments have these also. And so the interesting thing is that patch of grass. Let me get back to that patch of grass. And so I posted on Facebook that my smart ring that was doing the sleep analyzing, didn't engage until 4:45 a.m. And so I'm like, when does dew come out? First of all, and I didn't even make these connections until the middle of the day. And I'm like, when does the dew come out in the morning, right? It's like square up, right? And so I'm like, absolutely crazy, like my phone, and I'm like messaging people, right? Trying to message people, and all these intuitive thoughts of, somebody's probably just fucking with me and taking my account and taking my identity and going off and having all these good dates and interactions with people and abusing them, because that is an abuse to have this false intent to meet people, and then they have these situations that they ain't never gonna meet again, or they got their little black book and they just don't give a fuck no more. Okay, I got your name and number. Yeah, all this backstory of it can't be Michael no more because I took his identity and it had his profile picture, and I told him that he ain't real, so obviously it can't be real. So he can't exist. This can never be his profile. And so, this crazy stuff like that. And so I post on Facebook, I'm like, what the fuck was this? Was these my weekend human traffickers? 4:45 a.m. My ring just says, oh, I just went to bed, and I woke up about 4 a.m. And so that's about when I wake up and I go back to sleep. And so I'm sitting there like, oh God, get ready for the weekday human traffickers. And I clocked in at work at 7-Eleven, and I get to the 7-Eleven after the traffic flow. I'm just already like, this morning 45 and a 30. They chasing me this morning. 2 cops on 77, not to be there when they're chasing, or not to be there when an odd situation of traffic flow, like, oh, there's 3 red cars, he's on a red motorcycle, it must be the red one. And I told you it was the red identity. It's the red car on the road. And so that situation happening more often than not, right? It's the 98 Suburban. And so there's just so many of those. You're going to run into those more likely than not, at least once a week, at least twice a week, 5 times a week you're going to run into them. 2 of them in the same place. they're antiques, but they happen. We need money in this town. Anyways, so I'm sitting there saying my human traffickers are going to be picking me up on the weekday. I said, what is that, Midlothian police? Like, what is that in the weekend dropping me off? Is that like the Midlothian? Because I was trying to talk to this married couple, trying to make some friends last night. And so I'm like, what is that, Midlothian police out there? And it's not the ones I met that I was like, we just didn't click like that. So I'm like, y'all seem like cool people, but we just didn't click off to where it was like, yeah, I'll come by and hang out and drink with y'all on the weekend. And, I'll bring my projector. And so, we didn't click like that. So it was a different couple. On the Grindr, on the apps, I'm always trying to find roommates and stuff like that, If it don't work out that way, maybe it could work out as a roommate, because there ain't no roommates. Anyways, if I move to Irvine, I might get roommates. Anyways, so I'm saying, at work, I post, I'm like, where's my weekday human traffickers? If Midlothian is the weekend human traffickers, I guess I'll be coming to my weekday human traffickers sometime. And so I pull out of work, and I'm like, suspicious traffic already. Nothing of it. I get to the 7-Eleven. I'm like, I clocked in at 7-Eleven. I see a motorcycle with a white helmet. I'm like, there goes the guy from Midlothian. Oh my God. There goes that 19-year-old from Midlothian. And I'm like, it's not even the 19-year-old. And I'm like, he's DoorDash. And so I'm like, it just fits the 19-year-old personality. He's DoorDash, and he has a white motorcycle helmet. Murder. And so I'm like, that's why I don't wear my white helmet no more. Specifically for that reason. And specifically because it's hot. In the wintertime, I might wear it more often than not. But whenever I got my new helmet, I wasn't wearing my white helmet because of that reason. One of those people that just never messaged back. Fictional person. And so... I get to the North Grove, see this guy at the 7-Eleven, clicks in my mind like post-traumatic stress. I'm like, well, there goes the Midlothian doings. You ain't going all the way until you went all the way down North Grove. And I'm looking at the businesses, and I'm like, they're all on 77. Ain't nothing behind the businesses, and besides a sign that says no trespassing on the patch of grass. Don't you drive on their grass, on their tree line, in their shade. Don't you dare climb in their shade. And so... they tell you at the Northtown Village when the police come by, they tell you, don't you drive on your landlord's yard. He's okay with you driving on it, but I'm saying don't. Anyways, there's a sign that says, do not drive on my grass. Anyways, I'm out of here of that. I'm like, you do not go all the way until you go all the way on North Grove. And that motorcycle man done went past the 7-Eleven, went down the back street, and I'm like looking back there. What's back there on the back street? Where's he going? What's he doing? Is he going to the hotel? The first thing I said, what is that street go out to the hotel, and he's going to the hotel, to the Best Western? I look behind these buildings. There's a cop. Back that ass up to the shade of the tree line. There's a cop in the tree line. And so he done backed his hatchback ass up to the tree line, and as I'm passing by, not only is the motorcycle back there with them, like on the apps, but the fire truck done came all the way. You don't go all the way until you have a fucking fire truck go through. And so you have the police officer backed up to the tree line, because I said, if you go get a U-Haul, you can back that up to a tree line, you can back that up to a brick wall. You could just have the door open and have a gay old time. And I'm like, no one's ever going to walk to it. Ain't nobody going to ever check on you. Just have a gay old time back there, Play video games, whatever you want to have, a honeymoon suite. And so he just backed that ass up to the tree line, and it just... Love nest in the storage buildings. You better get the one with AC and heating. And so... oh shit, I see some screenshots on there. Anyways, that nasty ass couch. Okay. Oh, and so the only reason why I did this was because it shows seriousness of it. Those are some nasty stains. I don't care what you say. Those are some nasty ass stains. And so, right, I just had to say that. You don't go all the way until you've gone all the way. And so, oh, 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 I can't do that either. Okay, so, yeah, and so we get a new roommate next door. She about 30 years old, you know, it's just whatever. But she, you know, got a new Spanish guy. The 6 kids. Let me get my seriousness. The 6 kids come up missing, right? They all go home. Now we got 6 adults. Those kids grow up fast. And so now we got these adults, and like, oh, I'm just like, ugh, the odds of the gay couple moving in next door and they just not being my type to hang out with, Scarborough Fair people. And I'm just like, uh. You don't feel human trafficked until you know you feel you like you're human trafficked. And I go to work and I pay for my life. I am paying a ransom. I am being human trafficked and paying a ransom. Oh my god. And so all of that to the beginning of the YouTube videos is what I'm dealing with on a constant basis of personality. Now imagine that, all of that being personality, to say that cop backed his ass up on the tree line after I done seen the wet dew, like there was a cop observing these new identities on the tree line. And so, and my ring don't lie, like they passed back an identity, like personality. We gave you your identity back, Michael. We're in your neighborhood. We have everyone's identity. Anyways, we say who is who. My dog has disobedience. He has obedience to be disobedient. That sounds very confusing. He is a very intelligent dog. He's a very obedient dog. The problem with this dog is that I went to cook. I was cooking on the grill. I told him, hold up, he peed this morning. I'm like, you can wait. Because normally he does. That's his normal personality. That's his personality. So I'm like, I'm going to keep you in your normal personality. I'm going to start cooking. And when I get done with this 20-minute meal, I'll take you out and I'll bring you out on the patio and you can sit with me. And so, I have to come in and out because it's an RV. We're camping. And so we come in and out, he hops out and he's obedient. But then as soon as he identified me, you could see a switch to where he just took off. He identified me, like he came to me, he sat in front of me, and then he took off. And then he would not look back. And so he went to go pee, he went to go poop, he went walking around the fence, like, the little edge of the creek does through that little gate on the backside. But he didn't go that way. He went our normal way. And so he went back there. And normally, his normal behavior is I can walk up to him, clip him on his leash, and he'll stay within his radius of his leash. And so, he didn't do that. He was outside his personality in multiple incidences. And I'm saying it is a obedience of his disobedience, because he ran straight for the wood lines. I'm talking about he walked down the creek on this side. He came over to me. I was going to clip him. He was like, you ain't clipping me. And then took off. And then he ran. There's tracks in the middle of the field from where somebody drove to the creek. He followed those little tracks. And I'm talking about they're just like tracks. He's blonde. I'll say that. He's a black and white blonde dog. I doubt he's noticing these grooves in the grass. It's not even dirt. It's just in the grass. You can see the grass fell over. And so he's following this path, this game trail, I guess he's thinking it is. Very intelligent dog. And so he's following this game trail all the way to the wood line. He gets all the way to the wood line. You see him brush up against some branches that I'm suspecting is probably poison ivy. He needs a bath. So he did everything he could to get me to give him a bath. We go to the dog park. He's shitting on himself. Everything to get me to give him a bath. So I wiped it off afterwards, but they left a cell phone. Somebody, an old man in a yellow shirt with 2 dogs, left a cell phone there. I called the non-emergency line. And, right, all over the place. And so I suspect the normality when I'm like, it's an unusual crowd. People will come walking off the trail and they'll use the restroom. And I'm like, that's normal, right? That's pretty normal. But I'm like, for the traffic flow, I'm like, it's only when I'm there that I notice it's like, it's an odd situation. And so I'm like, he really wants me to walk into this bathroom and wipe his ass like I'm going to the restroom. Like, this guy done left his cell phone. There's cell phone data of identity. There's only one body there besides the Volkswagen that's, combined with this fictional account of I'm meeting my dealer. I'm meeting my connect. That's my connect. He a hooker. I'm meeting my hooker up here. We gonna do it in the bathroom. And so, right, and so I'm like, I'm pretty sure if identity existed on a computer of an XYZ of a sonar, my dog is somebody's penis because that's his dog. And don't ask me why I think this, but I'm pretty sure every time his disobedience comes in, there's somebody scratching their balls saying that's my dog. And so I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I don't know. And I watch YouTube and I'm just like, the conditions of life, I'm probably just trained to observation of situations that, the dog just makes it look weird to where I just naturally speak English and say, that's just what it looks like. It sounds like it, so it looks like it, so the thought process is like, that's probably what it is. If it's a true statement, it's an eventuality. And so, JCPenney's at the moment, I'm doing a screen recorder, I'm not recording on the camera. And so it's going to depixelate it a little bit. You can try to zoom in and it's going to be pixelated. Anyways. So normality of the copy and paste of videos. And so, and you can do that on cell phones. On screen recorded cell phones, you will know if it came off of a Samsung 22 Ultra or if it came off an iPhone, because the cameras and the displays, the way it records and saves is like, it's very specific for that pixelation of the device that it was made for. And so every single cell phone has a fingerprint of that video. And so all of that, right, concluded to my human trafficking experience, to where it's like, oh, I'm still like murder-suicide these days. Yin-yang gang attacking. Anyways, I'm like, hey, if that old man doesn't come and get his cell phone, I get that after 30 days, right? So I got my little text message. I don't think they picked it up, though, because they waited until the moment I left. I got a text message as I was starting my car and the Volkswagen was pulling out, and I'm just screaming out my goddamn mind, right? Like, where's the police when you need them? And I'm just already screaming out my mind because the way the car starts when these people's around. Like, the computer on the car done had issues. Like, that's not his car, that's somebody else's car. The computer had issues. And so it just completely saturated. And it's not the first time I had to replace the O2 sensors on it. The first time this behavior of the vehicle occurred was at Taco Bell. And this was weeks after these 2 high school kids, right, underage, right? So we say if there was an underage existence of classified identities, that they would be blacked out. that their identities would be blacked out since they're underage. They had they had a misfire in their Silverados. They had two Silverados. There wasn't one Silverado. There was two Silverados side by side parked while I was waiting for my mother in the grocery store. Theirs had a misfire exactly like how mine does now when these people come park next to me. And so the computer just forgets about it, I guess. And so they, they had to start it up and then rev it up. Vroom, 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 vroom. Black smoke coming out the exhaust. Same thing my Suburban's doing. We'll call it crazy. Like a month later, or weeks later, however long later, happened at the Taco Bell. That my car didn't want to start up. It had misfire. Two sensors went bad. TPS went bad. All the sensors went bad. Like somebody with a taser done tased the computer. The computer got an electrical shock of sorts, like a microwave done passed through. And that morning that happened, WPD over at the Schlosky's looking at my vehicle from across 77. OJT not washing her hands going to the Taco Bell. They ate her taco. This is Michael.